Well, I arrived in Chapel Hill in 1964. I was at that time living in Savannah, Georgia, and had been accepted to graduate school at UNC, and that's what brought me here. Chapel Hill was at that time conceived to be a very progressive and liberal community. And while there had not been any black families who had bought a house outside of the traditional black section of town, except for Piney Mountain Road, we didn't think there would be any problems in buying a house anywhere in Chapel Hill, but we were wrong. Over time, we did end up buying the house in Colony Woods, and we ended up living under the threat of death, both my wife and I, as well as our children, for the better part of a year. And Chapel Hill was basically living a lie. On the one hand, it was enjoying the reputation of being a progressive and liberal community, but on the other hand, these kinds of behavior were being exhibited in Chapel Hill, and the governing board was not willing to step up and say, this is not acceptable. I had always had an inclination to hold a public office. I mean, I dreamed about this growing up, but never thinking it would possibly happen. One person made a statement that really took me back to my earlier days. And what he said was, you shouldn't run for mayor because the time is not right. And all my life I had been told the time is not right. And so I indicated at that time that I was going to run for mayor and make the time right. I was actually running because there were so many issues that had been ignored in Chapel Hill. The traditional black section of town had not received the level of services and attention that it truly deserved in terms of paved streets, in terms of water and sewer. So there were enough issues in the black community to be able to generate activities to give hope that some of these things could be dealt with. The public transit system in Chapel Hill was started in a community that had not really had an organized public transit system. We had to start this system from scratch. It was a tough go, and I had to convince the voters that they should allocate a certain percentage from the property tax to support the system. That initiative that was on the ballot failed the first time out, both in Carrboro and in Chapel Hill. I refused to quit, and we went back the next year with another proposal that passed by 65%. That was the beginning of the bus system. And of course, I'm proud of the fact that today when I look at the numbers of people that are being transported to the basketball games and the football games, and the fact that buses are running all over town, I'm just very pleased. So transportation has certainly been one of my hallmarks. Things start somewhere, and I'm lucky to have come along at the time I did. I'd like people to remember that we moved Chapel Hill to be what it had pretended to be. And that is a community where people are treated with respect, and that barriers which may have divided people over time were broken down. But the real legacy should be that Chapel Hill, under my administration, was moved from under the shadow of the university and developed its own image of an independent, growing community that was in partnership with the university. So let's just hope that when historians sit and write about that time and about these times, they remember that it was here that Chapel Hill created a new identity, a new vision for itself, and as a result of that has now come to a point of being recognized as the progressive city it has always wanted itself to be represented as.